This is happiness, to be everything at once. Be unblinded, be unlearned, be unbridled and unburned.
Hey guys, welcome back to a brand new episode of Mood Prep. My name is Dave Nixon, and today we are rounding off old mate Joe Rogan, the 10 Rules for Life, which I posted on my Instagram back in the 27th of June. So far we've gone through be the hero of your movie, fuck your excuses, work towards a goal, embrace difficult tasks, discipline over motivation, discomfort is your friend, get over your past, spend time outside, write it all down, and now we're up to pursue your desires. I'd love to know which one of them has been your favorite. I'm going to ask that in the Mood Prep community, which is on online, obviously on Facebook. So if you search Mood Prep community and jump in there, I'd really love to hear for you guys what you thought was engaging and what really sort of challenged your thinking, and what you got the most from. But for today, we're going to go through the last one, which is pursue your desires. Now, this is pretty interesting, hey. It doesn't really define pursue my desires as in short-term or long-term. If we continually pursue short-term desires, then we might find ourselves really experiencing life. But then the question is, well, what parts of life, if I pursue my desire continually to have some sort of, from a, let's say, a food standpoint and always wanting sweets because that's what I desire, then, where I suppose is probably the balance there. So the thing I suppose, I'm supposing a lot, aren't I? That I do though, I don't know. And the beautiful thing about not knowing is these are the things where we look at the options, and out of those options, we get to make a decision ourselves, individually. I can't make decisions for you. I don't know what's best for you. Sometimes pursuing your short-term desire may be best for you, and sometimes it might not. Sometimes pursuing the long-term desire is all well and good, but then sometimes you miss out on the short-term opportunities to experience life there and then. So the beautiful thing in all of this is understanding that pursuing your desire is, I read it as not putting your happiness in somebody else's hands, removing the conditions that we put our own happiness, and taking responsibility for what's truly important for us and important to us. And with all of that, we get to really take control of our life. There was something that recently taken on a brand, and with that brand, boss is one of the words. Boss is derived from a Dutch word bas, which means master, as I've probably mentioned a couple of times before. But I was thinking, what does this brand mean? What am I trying to do with this? And it's like, well, I want people to master their mind and then master their craft in order to master their life. And so I suppose the beautiful thing in all of that is mastering your life. When we get to master our life, it means that we're in charge of our life. We take full responsibility for what's within our power in our life. And then in doing that, we then allow everyone else to take responsibility for their life, because we can't be the master of everyone else if we're not the master of ourselves. That's not how it works. If we're mastering ourselves, we're not trying to tell people how to live their life. We're not telling people to fix their shit, because we're so focused on making sure that we're making our decisions and allowing other people to be themselves as well, without projecting our values, without projecting all of our conditions, without projecting our limiting beliefs and even our positive beliefs. If we see someone who we think has a limiting belief, that's our belief of their belief. It's not fucking true. It doesn't make it true necessarily, and it's probably a condition in between our happiness. I had a conversation today. When everyone else is happy, I'm happy. It's like, can you hear the fucking frame? Right? And that's a common thing. I know there's so many people that listen to this podcast that would lean into that tendency. When everyone else is happy, then I'm happy. But we know it's not fucking true. That person very rarely ends up happy based on that condition, because to get everyone happy, right? Some people are like happy being miserable. And so they'll be miserable because they're happy there, even though they don't act like it. Right? It serves them in some way. And so we don't have to change them. We can just let them be. And I think Winnie the Pooh taught us that with Eeyore, right? He's just doing what he's doing. You don't have to change him. You can come along if you want, and if you don't, don't. We don't know what's best for each other, and so that's why I think the key thing here is the ability to pursue our desires, our own, to define what's true and important for us, to take responsibility and to step into our power. Something that I've really been focusing on in coaching and in conversations and everything that I've been doing recently is seeing, like, really where everyone's losing their fucking power. And I'm listening intently, and I'm hearing them speak, and then all of a sudden they'll say something like, Well, because my ankle's injured, I'm not able to give everything that I want. My ankle's holding me back. And it's like, right. It's not just your mindset, bro. I'm not throwing that in their face. And a lot of the time I'm not saying anything, right? But it's hearing like how much power they're giving this thing. It's taken their power away. A relationship took my power away, right? A business took my power away because it was failed. It was a failed business partnership, and then it put me in a bad position, and so on and so on and so on and so on. It's like none of that shit is actually empowering. None of it's taking responsibility. None of it's looking at it and going, what can I do with all this information to make sure that I am continually moving forward for me? For me. Continually moving forward and understanding myself even better. Getting rid of the shit that's in the way of my happiness. Right? I don't need anything to happen for me to be happy. It's the rules that we make up. And happiness isn't always the pursuit. I mean, I've seen some people recently talk about joy instead. It's like, well, happiness and joy are interesting things because we can often define them differently individually, right? We know that for true. So what do you mean when you say happy? Is a really good question when it comes to mind. Majority of the time, happiness is actually just what we're referring to as peacefulness. And peacefulness is now, in the moment, as it is, when we just accept everything as it is, and we get to be us as we are. You see, that's a beautiful space to be in, because in that space we're surrendering, we're accepting, we're being. We're not expecting, we're not doing any of that sort of stuff. There's no thought of the future. Not that we shouldn't think of the future from time to time. Of course we should. Not that we shouldn't reflect on the past from time to time. Of course we should. But when we're constantly living it, we're no longer living. Because when living is happening here now. And so when we're constantly in our heads about the future, we're not living here because we're thinking of the future. And that's where we are there and then. Right? And when we're thinking of the past, we're living in the past. We're not living here now with you in this moment. And so that's the idea of being able to be present, of being here in peace. And in that peacefulness is often, well, people say tranquility. It's where happiness is, right? People get happiness and excitement confused all the time. Excitement's about the future. Are you excited about your trip? It's like, no, I've got things I need to get done between now and then. And that's my often response. Some other people are excited about it. Should they be? I don't fucking know. That's not my job. It's not my job to tell people whether they should be or not. I'm simply just showing you all this. I'm explaining all of this so we can see it and make our own distinctions, so that we can make distinctions on what our desires actually are and start to pursue them based on what's important to us. So we sacrifice so much thinking that that's the right thing to do. But what we're doing is also teaching the next fucking generation to sacrifice, right? And what sometimes we're not sacrificing the right things. When I say right things, what I'm talking about is sacrificing the parts of us that no longer serve us. We're sacrificing ourselves in the face of the conditions that we put on happiness. And that's where we fuck ourselves up. And that's where it's in our power to change. It doesn't have to be that way. We can change. And it takes time. Right? But we can change. And so the beautiful thing in all of that, once again, I love the word beautiful, if you hadn't noticed, is that it's all in your power, right? It's in your power to go, well, what am I going to allow to happen again, and what am I not going to allow to happen again, right? What am I going to ensure that how I show up in the world, because that's in my control, that's in my power, that's in my realm of responsibility. Am I going to be honest? Am I going to speak my truth every single time I have a conversation with somebody? Or am I going to hold back so I don't piss someone off? Which, by the way, pisses yourself off. We're often not frustrated or angry with other people, right? I had this conversation not too long ago, and I explained that people often get shitty when maybe, I've seen it in siblings. A sibling will be doing something that they want to do, right? In a business sense, maybe they're doing, and their other sibling is like, having a go at them. It's like, why are you doing that? You know you can't do that. And they're all just projecting and barfing all their limiting crap onto this other person that's actually pursuing what they want because they're jealous. It's an insecurity. They're not in a secure space. And because of that, that's just pain spilling over. They may not admit it. Doesn't mean it's not true. But team, on that note, I'm done. Thank you very much for tuning in. Now, I do have the Mood Prep Intensive coming up in Sydney. It's on the 21st, 22nd of September. I just put a post up on Instagram. You can find me there at DDNix. It's at the moment 2-for-1 tickets until the 20th of July, so make sure you jump on if you're coming along and check it out. I'm going to be going through a whole heap of shit from these podcasts, as well as a bunch of other models, and you'll get to hang out with a heap of other people that are in the same line of thinking, the same type of mindset, are going on the same path. So if you find this stuff interesting, I really highly recommend you check it out. There's 2-for-1 tickets, like I said, up until the 28th of July. You'll find the link in my bio. You'll also find it in the Mood Prep community as well. But otherwise, team, that's kind of me done for today. If you have any questions, by all means, reach out. If you know of any other people that you would think would really benefit from this podcast, mean the world to me if you'd share it with them as well. Otherwise, team, I'm done. Until tomorrow. Peace and pizza, kick today in the dick, and slay the dragon. I'll see you soon.
To be everything at once, be unblinded, be unlearned, be unbridled and unburned.